But we're going to be moving on, and we're going to be talking about our biggest surprises and our biggest disappointments so far this year. But I want to talk about the disappointments first, get the negative out of the way. I think we have one consensus disappointment, but we'll save that guy for last. So, Chase, who is your disappointment?
I'm gonna go with Profar. We kind of signed him to be a depth piece, but due to injuries, he was in that starting role. We saw last year when he was in a starting role, he actually did play pretty well, but he was sort of just a DH and didn't play in the outfield. From his outfield blunders this year to him just not being able to hit the ball. I mean, he has drawn some walks when he's needed to, but I think like the last time we checked, he was like for like something in his last 7 games. He hadn't had a hit and maybe just a couple walks, and the rest were strikeouts. It was bad. And he's kind of showing that maybe last year was a fluke. And I don't want to say that because I like Profar as a player because he does bring some good energy to the team, but he is a much closer to his career averages than he was last year. So he's just been the overall biggest disappointment, or not biggest disappointment, but the other biggest disappointment. We'll save the other guy for later.
I gotta agree with you there. I did really want to bring back Profar. I really like Profar as a player. I thought last year was really, really good to see kind of a career resurgence out of him. Because remember, with I believe it was with the A's, he was a top prospect. He was the top prospect in all of baseball, and it was good to see that he was starting to finally come around last year. And it was only a 60-game season, so not really a big sample size. But he was really good for us, especially when Tommy Pham went down. He went to left field and he held it down really well, and that's what kind of made me a big fan of his. But this year he did have, I mean, he had a 7-8 game stretch with no hits, and he had a 15-game stretch where he was batting, I believe it was under 100 or maybe just a little over. That's like you're giving me Austin Hedges vibes. Like it's really weird to like he just wasn't hitting the ball. He was getting some good at bats, but he just wasn't putting the bat on the ball. He wasn't putting the barrel on the ball, driving the ball like he was last year. Um, for me, for my disappointment, it's kind of a toss up. I don't really know who I'm gonna go with as of now, but Hosmer and Myers have both been pretty big disappointments. I think Hosmer more, just because he did start off the season really hot, and now suddenly he's probably the coldest hitter in our lineup. He's not bringing runners in. He's hitting a bunch of ground balls. I don't know how many home runs he has. I mean, I know for a fact it's 6, maybe 7. If it's more, whatever. I guess I'm wrong, but
Actually, it's less than both of that. It's 5.
oh, yikes. That I mean, I think we all agree that's pretty atrocious considering he's consistently in the cleanup or the 5th spot in our lineup. You gotta be able to provide more power than that. And earlier in the season, we saw him come up in a bunch of situations, 2 outs, runners in scoring position, and he was the best in the league at the time of bringing runners in those situations. And now, he just hasn't been able to provide that for us. Um, but Chase, like, what do you think of? I mean, neither of us like Eric Hosmer very much. Let's be real here. I feel like the younger generation of Padres fans don't really like Eric Hosmer. We're harder on him because we don't really think those Gold Gloves look very warranted right now because he has some pretty bad defensive efforts at times. And in my opinion, when he dives for a ball, it doesn't even look like he dives; he just falls. Um, Jake Cronenworth, in my opinion, has played better first base than him at times. But Chase, what do you think? What do you think of Eric Hosmer?
I've said it multiple times on here. I'm not the biggest fan of Eric Hosmer. I don't think we should have signed him. I did not like him. He has proven me wrong at times with the bat where he's come in really clutch, but as of right now, let's look at his past 15 games because he started off the year really hot and he's dropped down to a 253 average. In his last 7 games, he's hitting 105 with 4 strikeouts, and in his last 15, he's hitting 125 with 12 strikeouts. He's 6 for his last 48. So that is atrocious. Somebody that's hitting in the 5 spot. I see the look of surprise on your face. Just give me 1 second. For a guy that's hitting 6 for his last 48, you don't put him in the 5. I don't care how talented he is with the bat or how many runs he can produce. When a guy is struggling that much, you move him down in the lineup until he's into a groove back, and then you can move him back up. Because all he's doing right now is every time there's runners on scoring in position, he hits a ground ball. there's a double play because Eric Hosmer is not fast enough to beat out a double play no matter how slow the ball is hit. He's a guaranteed out, if not 2 outs, just because of his inability to hit anything into the outfield right now. It's bad. You don't put him there. And I know we give Myers a lot of crap now because of how bad he's hitting, but he's hitting like double that right now. So our production from 5 and 6 right now is abysmal. I'm okay with moving Myers down in the lineup, but for some reason, Preller is just cemented with the idea that Hosmer has to hit 5, and it is absolutely killing us right now. So I am going to bash Hosmer all I can right now because I'm just going to do this until he can prove me wrong. I'm all for players proving me wrong, and then I'll jump aboard the train for them. But it just seems like he hasn't had enough of those moments where he's proven us wrong to be worthy of the contract that he signed.
Chase, that was probably the most passionate I've ever heard you talk about this kind of Padres topic, and probably in forever. Yeah, Eric Hosmer has been. I did not know his numbers were that atrocious. Talk about Austin Hedges again. We're talking about Profar giving us Austin Hedges vibes. Hosmer is not doing much better. I completely agree. Yesterday when I was watching the game, or maybe the day before, I forgot what day it was, he hit a ground ball to second base, and then he hit a ground ball to first base. And I was like, oh, vintage Eric Hosmer right there. And like I said earlier, I feel like when I talk to the younger generations of Padres fans, we're all pretty set on Eric Hosmer. He's overrated. And then when I talk to the older generations, it's, he's a Gold Glove winner. He's still one of the best bats in our lineup. Well, he's not showing he's one of the best bats in our lineup. I mean, he's consistently not showing that. Every year he's been with us outside of a 60-game season, he's had a negative WAR. And that's over. I'll tell you what, if someone like Ha-seong Kim or Profar's hitting pretty bad right now. Tommy Pham, we were coming at Tommy Pham's head bad. If a death piece or if this guy's not named Eric Hosmer, he would be getting bashed on right now. And that's no doubt about it. I think the whole Padres fan base would be coming for his head the way we did with Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham gets taunted for getting stabbed. That's wrong. That's terrible. But, Eric Hosmer should not be getting any praise right now. Batting 4 for 48. That's coming from a 5th spot in the lineup, where we need you to be a run producer. Come on. I mean, there's no backing that up. And we are ranting about Eric Hosmer right now. And I want him to prove us wrong because no way he should be this bad signing this big of a contract. But Chase, you look like you want to say some more, so let's hear it.
I'm just gonna mention his on base percentages, and then in his 30 games. So his last 30 games, he has a 196 average. He has a 239 on base percentage and a 252 slugging percentage. So that shows that when he even is hitting the ball, it's mostly singles. And then his on base percentage, like the last 7 games, is under 200, and his last 15 games is under 180. So we need to do something about first base right now, and maybe sitting Hosmer is the best idea and letting Cronenworth go first and having Kim play second, because Kim has been a more productive bat as of lately. So I don't know what Preller's is to get Eric Hosmer to start hitting again or just simply playing better, but playing him in the 5 spot is not going to do it for me.
Chase, is there a way to check that of those 4 hits out of those 48 at-bats, are any of them extra base hits?
Hold up. I don't think I can do that right now.
Okay. Yeah, I would honestly say maybe one of them is an extra base hit, to be honest. He just hasn't been a very good bat in the lineup. And like I said, if this was anyone else not named Eric Hosmer or anyone that didn't have that kind of star power, really, I wouldn't say Eric Hosmer is a star, but he is a bigger name in the league. If it's anyone not named him, it's very possible that they're sitting on the bench for a couple of days until they find their rhythm again. And I absolutely do not think there's a way that AJ Preller and Jay Stinger would come to a conclusion like, okay, we're going to sit Eric Hosmer. But based off what we see, it's the best choice. And I think it will take a big move or a big step forward to really say we need to sit Eric Hosmer. We need to do something about him. But it's very hard to defend him right now. He is probably the second biggest disappointment. You could say Will Myers, but he is starting to get a little hotter right now. He's starting to get some base hits here and there. However, we do need to see, just like Manny, you brought up Manny too when I brought up that that he needs to hit for more power. They both need to be hitting for more power right now, but Will Myers in the 6th spot needs to be bringing in some more runs, needs to be hitting for more power, needs to have some better at bats, in my opinion. I don't want to talk too much about Will Myers just because I do like Will a lot. I hope he turns it around. Chase, do you want to say anything about Will? I know you love him.
Yeah, he's gonna pull through. He's starting to get his hits again. He's starting to look more comfortable at the plate. Just hoping to see him barrel up some balls more, and maybe hit some more gappers or just something solid contact down the line or some singles. I don't care too much about the home runs right now as long as he continues to get hits and barrel things up, because when you look at his baseball savant stats, he is severely lacking in expected base average and then barrel percentage and exit velo. So it's showing that he's struggling pretty hard right now. So if he can just focus on barreling up the balls and not necessarily trying to hit it out of the park, but just hit him into the gaps and hit for some singles and just make some solid contact, everything will eventually pull through. And he's starting to show that. I was hoping road trip at Cruz would sort of be a catalyst for him. He did get a couple of hits, so I was excited about that. But yeah, he definitely needs to have some more production if he wants to stay in the.
Yeah, and so we're gonna move on to our consensus biggest disappointment. And I know we've kind of ranted about Hosmer a little bit, but talk about this guy, Blake Snell. If you're defending him at this point, props to you, because I can't do it. Former Cy Young winner. But if you look outside of that Cy Young year, he has not been a very good pitcher. His lowest ERA is like a 3.24, which is pretty good. But other than that, you're consistently in the high 3s, low 4s range, and that's not what we expected when we traded Luis Patino, our second best prospect at the time. Francisco Mejia was a top prospect as well. That's not what we expected when we traded for Blake Snell. He's had a couple good starts here and there. We brought up his home ERA. It's pretty good, but his away ERA probably went even higher than 9 this past time, which it was at 9 before this whole Mets series started, or before the Mets series started, and then he has 2 pretty bad starts. So it's definitely up by now. But he needs to be more consistent. If you're going to have, a 1 ERA at home, please do not go above a 4 ERA on the road. And 4, I would take 4 any day. I would pay $100 for a 4 ERA from Blake Snell on the road right now, but it's probably 9 or 10 right now. By far the biggest disappointment, because you have Yu Darvish going out there and he's throwing some gems. He's throwing some really good ball games, providing you 6 or 7 innings, giving the bullpen some relief. And it's very rare that we've lost a Yu Darvish start. We've only lost 1 or 2 so far. And I mean, no, maybe 2 or 3. I remember losing a Dodgers one. But that's not because of him. It's because we just haven't really given him run support in those games. And when we do give him run support, it's an easy W for Yu Darvish. But for Blake Snell, we give this guy 7 runs, and he doesn't go out there and win. That's a winnable ball game, especially when you're playing at a club like the Rockies. You should not be going out there and giving up 7 runs, and we should not be losing that ball game. Me and Chase talked about it. If anyone not named, even if it was a bullpen day, if anyone not named Blake Snell throws that game, we win that ball game, no problem. The bats came around yesterday, and the pitching did not. Not even just the pitching. The one guy, the one starter did not come around. He's already 14. I think I said 14 starts, 14 games into the year, something around there. And he's probably halfway into his season already. So he needs to start coming around fast, because, the Padres don't mess around no more. We're willing to trade. We'll trade you, and it's not like I don't want him around. I want him to succeed. We'll probably see him Chase and I will probably be going to that Dodgers-Padres game, and we'll probably see him. And do I want to see him? Hell no. But do I want him to succeed in that game? Yes, I do. But Chase, I'll save a little bit for later. What do you think about Blake Snell?
I don't think there has been a player that has been hyped through a trade, an ace caliber pitcher through a trade that has performed worse than Blake Snell has throughout the last 10 years. I'm trying to think of a trade where the pitcher has gotten traded and he performed this bad. I remember there has been pitchers that have been hyped like this after a signing that haven't performed that well. I mean, the Padres have been victim of that, but we got Tatis out of it. But even then, I don't think James Fields performed this bad. So when he's good, he's untouchable. When he's bad, oh my, he's Superman on kryptonite. It's it's not good. I don't even know what is wrong with him at this point. He has nearly a 1.6 whip, which is way below probably league average. He doesn't average a 5 start. He doesn't average 5 innings per start. He has 14 games started and 61 innings pitched. That's not even 4. That's not even 4 innings per start. He averages less than 4 innings per start. And he's our number 2 starter right now. So, if there's a way for us to fix the rotation, I would preferably move Blake Snell to the 5th spot throughout the end of the season, just because he's been that much of a disappointment. And it's weird because when he's at home, he's a different sort of player, but the moment he touches the road, it's chaos for him. And we've seen from when he pitches at home, he's one of the best pitchers in the game. He has like a 1 ERA. But for some reason, he can't do the same on the road. And I don't know if that's just because he's never played in these parks before. It's an unfamiliar territory, or, it's a mental thing. But he has 4 other pitchers that are doing great to, sort of help him out and learn from, and try to adjust. And he's not making these adjustments. So it's very worrisome. We give up a lot for Blake Snell, so we expect him to, perform to what, his career averages. A 3.48 ERA right now is, that's his career stats, a 3.48 ERA. We would much prefer that right now than, a 5.72. Sure, we would be like, what, he's still not performing to what we traded for. But you know what, that would be a dream compared to right now. So not much to say when a guy is struggling like this and no one really knows why.
Yeah, and I decided to look up James Shields' stats with us because you brought up James Shields and you don't think he was as bad with us. Well, you're more than right. Blake Snell's like a 5.71, I believe. Some 5.2 or 5.7.
Yeah,
I forgot what it was. Like something like that, right?
5.72.
Okay. Wow, that's horrible. First. Second, James Shields had a 3.91 ERA. He went 13-7 in 2015 with us in 33 games started. So significantly better than Blake Snell. And remember, there were people that were coming at James Shields' head. So I hope all you guys are coming at Blake Snell's too, because he does not deserve any defense right now. And then when we traded James Shields for our superstar, he was 2-7 with a 4.28 ERA. So still, his ERA is not as bad as Blake Snell's is right now. So yeah, you were absolutely right. As he wasn't as bad with us. I want to ask you, do you think as of right now, and it's not a big sample size and we're not going to jump to conclusions, but based off what we see, is Blake Snell the worst acquisition over the last 10 years so far?
Oh, that's a pretty hard question to ask because we've made some pretty bad trades.
Oh yeah, numerous bad trades.
Rizzo for Andrew Cashner, and Cashner had a couple good years and a couple really bad years, but even his bad years weren't this bad. You could argue. Who could you argue? I don't think there's an argument to be made that there was a player that performed worse than Blake Snell through trades.
If anyone knows,
Court was pretty bad.
Yeah, definitely.
I still don't think it was this bad because he got sent down to the minor league to attempt to pitch, and I don't know where he is at now, but that didn't work. So yeah, I got to say that. And it's kind of funny. I think it's ironic at this point. If you noticed, our last 2 big, like super hyped guys that came off dominant World Series pitching performances that have come to the Padres have absolutely disappointed us. James Shields, he was having a Cy Young year, finished off his year with 3.21 ERA, and the Royals going to the World Series. He was big game James. We needed that guy. We got him, and he didn't perform. Blake Snell, coming off of his best career performance against the Dodgers in the World Series, comes in, has a okay first outing. It was good. It was had a couple good starts and then a couple that were just atrocious. So you know what? Maybe Padres just don't have luck with World Series pitchers that have their career bests. So do with that what you may. But yeah, Blake Snell has been absolutely atrocious, and I don't know how anyone can defend him right now just because of how bad he's been. I mean, he's had one really good start, and that was against the Mets. And then the Mets the next time around just absolutely came in and, they figured him out. They figured him out the second time seeing him. So I don't know what that's going to say against him against the Dodgers because, hey, they saw him in the World Series and they're about to see him again Monday. So let's knock on some wood that we get some good outings from him after this, but it's hard to defend.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really know if there's an argument that can be made. If anyone knows of anyone that's been a worse acquisition, and like I said, small sample size, he could still very realistically turn it around, maybe have a good year next year. But just based off what we see right now, is there, I want to know from whoever's listening, what you guys think of that? But Blake Snell, so far, biggest disappointment. Hopefully he turns it around. I think we're probably going to see him on Monday when Chase and I probably go to that game. And am I excited for it? Like I said, no. Do I want him to succeed? Yes, I want him to go 7 strong, prove us wrong. We want him to prove us wrong because we gave up so much for him. We want him to be our ace caliber pitcher that we expected. But absolutely, if you guys have any other disappointments, let us know. And we still got to talk about surprises. So,
my goodness, we went on a rant.
I know it was well deserved.
It was.
So we're going to be talking about some surprises right now. I think my biggest surprise, and it's not really a surprise to me just because we kind of expected it, but Joe Musgrove with a 2.5 ERA, Padres' first ever no-hitter. No Joe. He's been an amazing pitcher so far, thrown some really good ball games, kind of opposite of what we expected. We expected probably Blake Snell to have the 2.5 ERA and Joe Musgrove had the higher ERA. Completely different. Chase, you're a big No Joe fan. I think we all really like No Joe, but I know you wanted his jersey at the beginning of the year. What do you think of him so far?
He's been absolutely amazing. Even though some of the starts he's had weren't great, they were just enough for the Padres to win. And most of his starts, it goes 6 innings, which is amazing because after Snell kind of need that break, and having 2 out of our, maybe actually even 3 of our guys that are capable of going 6-7 innings and giving the bullpen a break is amazing. And compared to his career numbers in Pittsburgh, he's having a breakout year, and we sort of predicted him having a breakout year. And probably none of us thought he would be as good as he is right now. So I'm big props to No Joe, and hopefully he continues it throughout the entire season.
Yeah, No Joe's been absolutely amazing. Love watching the guy pitch. Great story seeing him being from San Diego, come out there, throw the first ever no hitter. He gets free I don't even know what it is, but free stuff from Ballast Point. So that's pretty cool. Just been an amazing pitcher going out there, providing us some really solid innings, providing the bullpen some really solid relief. But who's another surprise for you, Chase, that you think has come out there and provided us some really good value?
I know it's probably not as big as a surprise to us. All right. It's not as big as a surprise to us, but probably Grisham. We all knew Grisham was a great player, but I don't think any of us thought that he was going to come out in the way that he did this year. He's hitting nearly 300. He provided us with tremendous power. He's a Gold Glove center fielder, and he's kind of just putting all of his tools together and showing that, hey, we have 3 superstars on this team. You guys may only talk about Tatis and Machado, but I'm a top 10 WAR player, and I'm here to stay. And I prove everybody that doubted me in Milwaukee wrong. I'm the center fielder of the future, and guess what? You should know my name.
I absolutely love that you brought up Grish. Grish is absolutely a star in this league. He's shown us time and time again he is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder with great range. Not the best arm, but he has an amazing range out there, and he could hit some bombs. And he can be a streaky hitter for sure. But when your guy's a streaky hitter, and while he's hot, he can hit 3 home runs and single-handedly win you a game, I will take that any day. just because, I mean, he's a great overall ball player. And like you brought up, he was a top 10 player in WAR. I don't know if that still pertains, but last time we checked, he was. And people compared him to Grady Sizemore just based off the numbers. And that's a pretty good comparison, in my opinion. I think, he is that caliber type player. But I love that you brought up Trent Grisham, because I feel like still not a lot of people know who Trent Grisham is. He's going to be very soon, if not top 15, I'm not going to give him top 10, but top 15, top 20. That's where he's going to range. That's where he's going to be. I absolutely think he's capable of being that type of player. And you can mention his name with the Machados and Tatises, because he is that big of a piece on our team. He's very valuable. We see how really dead the lineup is without him. And when he comes back, he hits some bombs. We didn't win any games with him in the lineup, I believe, not yet at least. Maybe just one against the Mets. But overall, just an amazing acquisition. Thank you, Brewers. We love that you guys gave him up to us for Luis Urias and Eric Lauer. I don't even know what they're doing right now, but Trent Grisham's being a star on our team, I'll tell you that. Chase, any other surprises? I think a surprise for both of us, just because he was a very cheap signing. He was kind of a last-minute signing. Mark Melancon. What do you got to say about Mark Melancon?
You know what? I was a little skeptical, just because, he's an older guy. We've seen him on the Giants. We've seen him on the Pirates, and we saw him on the Braves. He was a really solid bullpen piece last year for the Braves. He still fit around, I think, a 2.7, 2.72 ERA. And so I was like, you know what? Our bullpen's somewhat solid. I don't think he's going to be the closer, but I think he'd be a really solid seventh inning guy. And you know what? He's completely blown away my expectations of him. He came in there, he hadn't blown a save until recently. He's been the rock to the bullpen. He's been our best relief pitcher. So you know what? Props to him. He's been, outstanding. I didn't expect him to have the year that he's had so far. So you know what? He's completely blown away my expectations.
Yeah, and earlier in the year, we're talking about who's going to be the closer of this team, because Pagan had closing experience. Pomeranz was the most dominant arm in our bullpen last year. Melancon, he kind of came out of nowhere. And I believe there was one more person we were talking about potentially being a closer.
Keone Keller.
Keone Keller. Right. He went down with an injury. And so we were kind of just skeptical when Mark Melancon was named the closer, but he's completely blown us away. He's been amazing. Couple reliever of the months, or I think just one. I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure how many reliever of the months he has, but even just one, we'll take that. He's been an absolutely amazing pitcher. You're right. He just recently blew a save, but it was his first one. I believe he had 19 up until then. So just been an overall amazing pitcher to have out there. Go out there and really close out the game. In my opinion, when I see him getting ready to warm up, go out there in the ninth with the lead, I feel pretty comfortable seeing him go out there. And I just kind of know that he's going to save us that ball game. He's going to go out there. He's going to give us a good performance. He's been – I think he's my biggest surprise, just because I wanted Rosie back. I wanted Trevor Rosenthal back. And so when I saw that we signed Mark Melancon, I was like, oh, well, there goes Trevor Rosenthal. And then I saw Trevor Rosenthal sign for $12 million for 1 year, and I was like, I love Mark, just because that's so much for a reliever. And I don't even know if Rosie's even pitching right now. So Mark Melancon has been a huge acquisition. Been great to see him go out there and perform. But Chase, any other surprises?
I guess you could say Cronenworth, because during the offseason, you're like, okay, he could be traded. We signed Ha-seong Kim, and that was sort of supposed to be like, the competition at second base is going to be a battle between those two. It really hasn't been. Cronenworth has, been like, hey, you know what? Last year wasn't a fluke. I know it was my rookie year, but I am this hitter. I'm going to be the staple at second base. I'm this gold guy. I can play all over the infield if you need me. I can pitch. He struck out Mookie Betts. I mean, I would be bragging about that forever if I'm Cronenworth. Hey, I got an inning in the major leagues and I struck out Mookie Betts, and I can hit home runs like there's no tomorrow. Oh, not like there's no tomorrow, but I can hit a few dingers when I need to. And you know what? He's been a little bit of an RBI machine at the bottom of the lineup. He gets on base consistently. He had those question marks coming into the season, and he's completely blown them away for anybody who doubted him.
Right. I kind of and obviously I didn't get to watch this guy I'm about to bring up, but I kind of brought it up to Matt. My dad really liked this guy. And I kind of compared him to Steve Finley when he was with the Padres. Steve Finley had let me see. He had the year he was an All-Star, he batted 261, 313 on base percentage, 475 slugging percentage, and a 788 OPS. Now, I don't know how that was his All-Star year because the year before that was even better. He had a 298 batting average, 354 on base percentage, 531 slugging, and 885 OPS. So overall, I'm pretty sure they played different positions. I think, yeah, Steve Finley was a center fielder, Jake Cronenworth, a second baseman. But just their overall production at the plate, Steve Finley, career 271 hitter. I believe Jake Cronenworth is a little higher as of now, but, small sample size. But he's just been a really good ball player for us. And the reason those trades were starting to be brought up with him being involved is because we talked about Josh Hader, and, we thought it might take Cronenworth to get Hader. And then we had talked about how if we do trade Cronenworth, we were not advocates of trading Cronenworth. We love that guy. That's Cronin God. But the reason we said it is because CJ Abrams is waiting, and we need to have a position ready for that type of talent. We need a position ready for him. But it looks like second base will not be that position. And maybe Eric Hosmer's gone and Jake Cronenworth plays first. Maybe, who knows? But as of right now, there's no position set for Abrams because Jake Cronenworth has just been that dude. And you're right. He is definitely a surprise because we thought only a 60-game season. He's a little older. I believe he's 27. I think he's 27 years old. Hopefully he can go out there again and do it. And he's absolutely done it so far. But I think that's going to wrap up this episode. If you guys are listening, go ahead and hold on. Let me restart that. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon. And hopefully the Padres go on a little win streak starting at home against the Reds. But like I said, thank you guys for listening.